Hello and welcome to the Heart of Markness Classic Rock podcast. I am your host, Mark. I welcome you. What we have on today's agenda is a lovely concert taped by Saint Mike Millard, with whom you should all be familiar, of Fleetwood Mac on their Tusk tour, December 6th, 1979. Tusk was not their biggest album, but it was their biggest tour. Rumors was their biggest album, was everybody's biggest album. It's one of the biggest albums in history. Tusk was a Lindsey Buckingham project, double album, and like most double albums, it didn't really need to be a double album, and it's very experimental with recording techniques anyways, production techniques. Has some new wave. I like it. It is pretty uneven, but it's ballsy of them to do something like that after such a huge mainstream hit. Has a bunch of cool tunes on it. Sounds really good in headphones. The band was not really behind it. There's a lot of partying. There's a lot of cocaine going on with everybody at this time. But with Fleetwood Mac, for sure, that manic face that Mick Fleetwood has is not all acting. But they kick ass, and this is a great capture. This is a first gen. From Mike Millard, Saint Mike Millard. It's not off the master, but it's off a copy that he himself made for trading. So it's exquisitely transferred, sounds amazing, and is pretty doggone good, if I may say so myself. One caveat here is that Stevie Nicks does not sound too fantastic tonight. She sings some songs at the beginning of the show, especially in a lower register. From what I understand and what the notes say, this is the third of a 3-night run at the Forum, so that's not surprising. To have the voice without a day of rest, that's no surprise. Plus, the aforementioned cocaine can be a little grating on the vocal cords as well. Great show, great sound, great band. Here is the scrolling, the set list for this show, because if you would like it, you'll be able to grab it at heartofmarkness.com. So it is Say You Love Me, The Chain, Don't Stop, Dreams, Oh Well, Rhiannon, Oh Daddy, What Makes You Think You're the One, Sarah, Not That Funny, Save Me a Place, Landslide, Tusk, with the USC Marching Band, Angel, You Make Loving Fun, I'm So Afraid, World Turning, do, Blue Letter, Go Your Own Way, Sisters of the Moon, Secondhand News, closing out with Songbird. The only notes that come with it is the ending of You Make Loving Fun is cut, probably a tape flip. Very good. Fantastic. That is a great set list. And it was probably a great show. If you went in 1979, it was probably pretty gosh darn Beatle awesome. Fleetwood Mac were kind of at the top of the pyramid then, with good reason. And they're a remarkable band because they've reinvented themselves 150,000 times. I can't think of a band with more changes to the lineup, although I'm sure there are something like Uriah Heep maybe, but my goodness. And their set list covers, of course, mostly the Lindsey Stevie era, which at that point just entailed 3 albums, Fleetwood Mac, Rumors, and Tusk. But they do go back and handle Oh Well, a nod to the Peter Green era. And I think that's it. I don't think they do anything earlier than that. They're a band that's definitely look worth looking into outside of the Stevie and Lindsay era. You get way more uneven output, but there's some good stuff. There's some good stuff on Mystery to Me from the Peter Green era. Christine McVie was with them for years before Stevie and Lindsay joined, so there's Christine McVie songs on there. And, of course, you dial back far enough and you get some insanely genius guitar players with Jeremy Spencer and Peter Green and the other guy. Oh, whose name I can't remember. Something with a K. Kirfan? Denny. Anyway, the three of them, and they're great. All right. Well, here we go. We are going to steer away from the Stevie songs because, her voice isn't fantastic. It's not bad, but I'd rather stick with something that's pretty gosh darn awesome. So, we'll do that, right? Yeah, we'll do that. Let's start with something off of Tusk. Seems reasonable. The song, I think it's one of my favorite songs off of Tusk because it sounds great in headphones because of the way Lindsay plays his guitar with what sounds like a volume pedal to make it sound violin-y. So good. And has a really nice overdriven crunch to it. So Lindsay, brilliant composer, brilliant guitar player, brilliant producer. And this was his album. He wrenched this out as like, okay, we had the biggest album of all time. Now let's have the not biggest album of all time. But it's very creative and kind of like the White Album in that it's all over the road. But I'm glad it happened. All right, friends, what makes you think you're the one? Enjoy. Oh yeah, December 6, 1979.
Thank you very much.
Very nice, right? Very Tusk, very Lindsay. Little frenetic. I enjoy it. If you're not familiar with Tusk, it's totally worth giving a listen to. There's some really good stuff on it that may sound nice and fresh to you if all you hear of Fleetwood Mac is Rumors and the first album and all that stuff. It's nice to hear songs that are just as good from that same general era that aren't played to death. So it's good for that. Definitely good as a listen. And in fact, there's no reason not to do this, is there? No. Let's just jump into the song Tusk itself, which was the hit off this. Sarah, I think, was too. I'm not sure if that was on. Yeah, Sarah was on Tusk, I think, too. Which I'm not playing because I said, Stevie's not in the best voice this night, so I'm not going to play the Stevie heavy tunes because it wouldn't be fair to anybody. So let's listen to Tusk with the USC Marching Band with them. Lots of fun and chaos and wildness and rhythm and cocaine. Enjoy. Wild, frenetic, lots and lots of horns. Tusk. Bum 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 ba dum bum 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 ba dum. I like it. I like the album better than the live stuff. For this, I don't know. I like the Rumors tour better, I think. Or maybe I'm just not in the mood for Fleetwood Mac. That's also the kind of thing. It's super duper subjective. And I have definitely, I've been doing this podcast long enough to try and not make absolute statements. In fact, the last absolute statement I made, which was about the band Love during the Priory of Brian episode, which I think I also shit on the drummer for that show, and the drummer, of course, contacted me on YouTube, so whoops. Was that I didn't like the band Love. Robert Plant was doing some cover song of the band Love. I can't remember which one. And I was saying how Spotify was trying to shove it down my throat. It's like, you like all this other shit, you must, by definition, like this band. And I'm like, I don't. I've tried. And then, of course, now I fucking love them because Spotify kept insisting, and it would play at work. I just play my Spotify play, on my phone at work to keep me from killing everybody. And after it runs out of the songs that I choose, it just chooses other stuff, and it plays. And I'm like, oh, I like that song. Who is that? No shit. So, trying to be more soft-edged and subjective in my pronouncements, because also it causes less consternation. If I'm like, no, I don't like that, then it's like, what do you mean you don't like that? Fuck you. You can get into a fight. Whereas, maybe I'm just not in a Fleetwood Mac mood today, or a Tusk era Fleetwood Mac mood today, because I listened to this yesterday. I'm like, this is all badass, because I chose these songs, right, having listened to several, and so I think it's just I'm not in the mood today for Fleetwood Mac all that much. Sounds amazing. Saint Mike Millard, God bless him. And I still want to share it with you because, Fleetwood Mac is one of those cool underground bands. Ooh, my telephone. One of those cool underground bands that only a handful of people know about. So I'd like to share that and see if we can get some traction on this band and get these fuckers into the limelight. Wink. Oh, the spiel. Okay, you can find me on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter under the name Heart of Markness. There's a nice Facebook group with a couple hundred people who are very, 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 very cool and nice. So if you want to hang out with some people who like music like you and who are very, 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 very cool and nice like you, check out the Facebook group, and it's great. There's been no assholes other than maybe yours truly. Yeah, which is nice, because I don't like that shit. It doesn't devolve into snarky bullshit. It's a really nice group of folks. So that's a place to go if you are looking for a little place to hang out and talk music. I am also on a website, heartofmarkness.com, where you can get these shows. Remember, I read the set list a little bit ago, about 20 minutes ago. You can download this entire show from Mike Millard, Saint Mike Millard, at heartofmarkness.com for free. Just grab it. All this stuff is meant to be shared freely. Mike Millard taped these shows on his beautiful Nakamichi tape deck with his great microphones and great technique. Not to make money, hated bootleggers. He did it to trade freely with other people. And that's how this works. All this is shared freely. The people, the GEMS, J-E-M-S tape group that is archiving and restoring these Mike Millard tapes and tracking them down, they don't do it for money. They could take all these tapes, gather them up, and make bootlegs and make some coin. Not as much as back in the day, but they could make money off it, but they don't. They do this as a labor of love and distribute it, and I carry on thusly to help, ring the bell and evangelize it and get a few more people realizing that all this is out there. There's more than 120 Mike Millard tapes been released so far. All of them, almost all of them, in exquisitely good sound quality. So there's the stuff out there beyond the stuff you get at the record store. Hooray. Okay, if you like what I do and you like how I do it and you feel like supporting the podcast in a material sense, take a look at patreon.com/heartofmarkness or click the Patreon button at heartofmarkness.com when you're grabbing that show and see if there's something there for you. The current titans upon whose shoulders rests this humble yet mighty podcast are Jeff from Canada, Glyn, Stephen, George, Big Ed, Kenny, John from West Footscray, Picard, Kneghorn, Chris, Rob from Melbourne, Australia, Wayne, Brad, Danielle, Tracy, David, Other David, Bonzo Billy, and Mimo. Thank you, thank you, thank you, my friends. Very, very much for keeping the lights on here. Makes a material difference. Pays for all the hosting, the cloud server, the web page, yada, yada, yada. Everything costs money, and everything keeps going up. So thank you, friends. You make it possible, and you keep me honest, because if it wasn't for the patrons, if I didn't feel like doing a podcast, I just wouldn't, which is how I started this, which is how we went almost a whole year between episodes back in the day. But no, now I treat it like a job, which is good for everybody that likes the podcast and myself, because now I just do it. It's like, oh, I got to do a podcast. And then, boom, look at that. See? Symbiotic relationship, I hope. Otherwise, it's just parasitic, and I'm the parasite. All right, we've got one more song, and it is not off of Tusk. It is off of Rumors, I think. I think it's the opening track on Rumors. Secondhand News. I know. Great song. Much better than I just renditioned it. So enjoy. It'll be our last one of the night, and I'll come back and say bye-bye to you. Here you go.
night. Good night. See you. Tusk.
Oof, Stevie, yeah. 3 nights in a row is rough when you're singing your heart out. Hope you liked it. I probably won't do another one. I do have a nice Who show from like a week earlier or 4 days earlier, other side of the country. That really great sound. It's not a Millard tape. Really great sound though, and interesting. The Who, after Mooney died, before Pete got clean, 79, 80, 81 was an interesting time. Cool time live with Kenny Jones. Different sound for sure, but at times the Who was almost like a jam band because Pete would just go off and solo and just improvise, which is not really what you think of when you think of the Who. So maybe I'll do that, or maybe that's next week's. Who knows? In any case, thank you for listening. I'm going to get this up on Heart of Markness as soon as I can, so it should be up tonight. So if it's not there when you're listening to it, check again soon, and it will be. And as always, please be good to yourself and each other, and let's all hope that all this war bullshit ends. There's so much bullshit in the world. Let's just remember that we're all people, and all people want, most people, is just a home that is safe, enough food for their family, safety, and etc. It's a low bar. Let's help everybody clear it. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.